with Bosch as a group, so as a big company. And maybe you're familiar actually with the company. Maybe some of you may have some home appliances that you use daily, day by day. But actually, part or most of our work and our products are actually distributed in 4 different sectors, broadly speaking. So consumer goods, mobility solution, industry technology, and energy and building. And now with the intrusion of AI, what Bosch is intended to do is to offer innovative solutions by exploring AI technologies for example, smart homes, Industry 4.0, and connected mobility. And with this in mind, actually, there are 2 ways in which we consider that AI can be exploited in Bosch. So the one is that we want to improve the quality of life of our customers, but on the other hand, we also want to conserve natural resources. And these 2 are actually the pillars under which we develop our AI technologies. And these actually align very well with some of the words of our founder, Robert Bosch, very long time ago. So our goal as a company now is actually that by 2025, we want every product in Bosch to have some AI technology in some way or the other. It can be through the design process, through the production process, or even AI can be part of the behavior of the product itself. So with this in mind, maybe just let me tell you how we want to do this paradigm shift, because actually Bosch has been a leader, a top player when it comes to manufactured hardware. And you may think like, okay, but what is actually the role of Bosch in all this AI world, in this AI environment right now? So the fact is that being a hardware company allows us through all these decades to get a lot of engineering expertise and domain knowledge regarding the manufacturing process of different products, ranging from sensors to machines to testing platforms and so on and so forth. And with this expertise knowledge, we actually want to design hybrid models that exploit the expertise knowledge that we have along with AI technologies. And this is actually the cornerstone of how we envision this transformation of our company, so that we can become a world-leading company as an AIoT player. So this means that we may consider, for example, 4 different aspects to achieve this goal. So the first one is things, and things you can consider this as a kind of the hardware, the products that we actually design. And these are actually the ones that are generating the data that we need to improve our products. So the idea here is that we're going to exploit as much as possible data that we have of our products out there. Therefore, meaning that we envision a connected world of our products so that we can understand the customer needs, and we can improve or update our products accordingly. And second is people. People is actually very relevant for us, not only from the customer side, but also from the employee side. So Bosch is a very, very big company, about 400K employees all around the world. And we want all our employees to be trained and be able to use AI technologies in their daily work. And this is actually a very, very nice thing, because we don't want our expertise to be only focused on a specific group, but we actually want to disseminate this knowledge all across the company. Third is data. Data is kind of the energy that is moving our systems in this sense when it comes to AI. And for this, we have actually developed an AI platform in Bosch that consists, of course, of an AI framework plus Bosch Cloud services and so on and so forth, in order to have access from to the data that the products are generating. But this AI platform actually conserves or respects integrity and confidentiality of the data that actually the customers are providing us. I think this is critical for us. Why? Because of the 4 components that you see here in the slide, which is trust. And I will elaborate on this topic in the next slide. So why trust is that important for us? Well, we want that our AI products reflect our values as a company. And Bosch actually, in early 2020, was one of the first industrial companies in the world to propose its own code of ethics for the use of AI in Bosch products, meaning that we want to reflect our ethos. So as you must see, our ethos is invented for life, meaning that we not only care about high quality products, but we envision that the product should have a sense of social responsibility. And this actually becomes more relevant when it comes to include AI in our products. On the other hand, we want that the AI decisions that are made by our technologies should always be supervised by humans as needed, in the sense that we don't want AI to always act independently, and we actually want to understand the decisions that these models are making. That's why we actually want to develop what we call safe, robust, and explainable AI products. Explainable in the sense that we want to exploit all the main knowledge that we have acquired in the engineering processes for decades in order to understand the decisions that our AI models may make. But on the other hand, we actually want to be robust, and different of our products actually, for example, relying on sensory data. And as you may know, sensors are actually inherently noisy. And we don't want that our products or the behavior of the AI technologies varies dramatically with noise or perturbations in the system. So therefore, we actually need robust AI to be able to work in a nominal way. So that's why actually we do think that trust is a key component of our AI products. Now, let me move a little bit more towards what is the Bosch Center for Artificial Intelligence, which probably some of you might not actually know. So this is a very recent center that was created in 2017 with the idea of bringing and deploying cutting-edge AI technologies in different products and services that Bosch provides all across the world. So our idea was not only to focus on product development, but we also wanted to bring research to the center and to actually not only to contribute to our internal services and products, but also to the knowledge in general. And that's why we have, for example, created an extensive network of locations of our centers. So currently we have 7 locations, 2 in the US, 2 in Europe, specifically in Germany, 1 more in Israel, in Haifa, 1 more in Bangalore in India, and we recently opened 1 more in Shanghai. So we're actually very lucky and fortunate to have worked already in around 200 different AI projects in all these different locations. And all these projects actually have generated around 300 million euros of internal revenue during the last 3 years. And this is actually a big success of our center on AI. But probably equally important, and maybe for some of you that are attending to this talk, is the fact that we have been able to publish around 150 publications in top-tier conferences and journals, and we do have a very nice network of academic collaborations. And this, I can tell you from my own experience, is very cool. So let me tell you or give you a glimpse of this academic collaboration that we have in our center. So we currently have collaborations with different universities and institutes in Europe, some of them in the Netherlands, Germany, as well as in China and the US. And we actively collaborate with top researchers in academia and these institutes in 2 ways. So we have kind of bidirectional communication with them. On the one hand, we bring real life problems to them so that the research can have actually an impact on products that we develop in Bosch. But on the other hand, we're actually able to treat or to address some of these problems from a research perspective. So we actually want to create knowledge out of the problems that we have currently in some of our projects inside Bosch. These are just some of the few collaborations that we currently have, but these are not the only ones that we have right now in the center. Now, what about the Bosch domains and how we actually apply and use our AI research in different fields in Bosch? So broadly speaking, we have 4 different domains. So engineering, manufacturing, controlling, and intelligent systems. And all in all, we can say that part of the impact that our research is having might entail, for example, efficient development process, a reduction of cycle times or warranty cost, um, or, for example, optimize certain parameters of different processes when it comes to manufacturing. But to be more concrete, let me tell you a bit about two different use cases that we have here. So the first one is about autonomous driving. And actually, Bosch is working on the next generation for autonomous driving. And here, actually, the idea is to rely on ultrasonic sensors that gives us some data regarding obstacles in the environment. And what we want to do is to create a system that creates alarms for the driver to take reactive action. So what is the goal here? So what happens with these ultrasonic sensors is that they can actually detect very tiny or small obstacles that are actually not dangerous for the driver, but they actually also detect very dangerous obstacles like poles, for example, along the way. And what we want to do, and what we actually did with our customer internally in Bosch, along with BCAI, was to create an efficient and robust machine learning technique that use these data coming from the ultrasonic sensors in order to provide a more accurate classification. And what we actually achieved was an improvement of over 30% over a previous rule-based technique for this obstacle avoidance and reactive actions for the driver, actually. Probably a more recent application entails the fight against the coronavirus. And actually, what we currently, or in the past, I think is in 2020, actually, we work hand in hand with our health department in order to design a method based on neural networks that analyze a large amount of samples from a COVID test in order to improve the accuracy and robustness of spot detection for COVID-19 cartridges. And actually, after we tested this in our labs, we were able to transfer this technology to end devices, and is actually has been of big success in different kind of bivalent systems nowadays. So these are two examples of the different projects that we have worked on in the Bosch Center for AI. So just to conclude, a couple of things. There are different opportunities that you guys might exploit to join Bosch and our center. So for students at the level of master, we have internships and master thesis projects that are actually carried out in collaboration with academic institutions. Usually these last around 6 months or so. And some of these theses or internship projects actually lead to very nice publications as well. We do have as well a PhD program. So if you're interested, just of course, drop by our booth and we can tell you more details about it. And of course, we have also opportunities for research engineers, scientists, and consulting departments as well. But last but not least, I also wanted to give you a glimpse of our research on geometric machine learning, because of course, this event is about machine learning and geometric methods. And we do have some work on that. This is just 4 works that I selected out of several ones that we have recently published in the topic. So for example, in August 2020, we published a couple of works, one regarding SE3 transformers that actually combine Lie algebra with the typical transformer neural networks. On the other hand, we also developed a high-dimensional Bayesian optimization that relies on Riemannian manifold formulation when it comes to parameterize black box problems where the parameter space actually relies on a Riemannian manifold. We, of course, are playing our role in the field of graph neural networks, and actually we have a very nice paper on it in the KDD conference this year, and we recently published a paper in a robotics conference in the robotic science and systems that probably some of you might not be familiar with, but it's actually how we exploit Riemannian manifold theory to understand the learning and reproduction of robomotion skills. So these are just 4 examples. tell you a little bit about what we do in terms of geometric machine learning. And if you have any question or you're still curious, please visit our booth. I will be there with our human resources partner and Hadi, who is one of our PhD students in Bosch. And thank you so much, guys, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Lionel. Could we all thank our speaker? This was a great presentation, and it seems like you are doing very ambitious work in many different areas. So now I'll leave the floor to the attendees if they have any questions. Do we have questions in the audience? Okay, so I have one. So in which areas, in let's say a bit more details, do you foresee geometric ML be used at Bosch?
So that's a hard question to answer. So in the sense that we are currently using geometric machine learning for autonomous driving. So when it comes to understand the scenes in order to do image imitation for AD. So we are currently using some approaches out there. I'm not familiar with the topic because I'm working in a different field. Also, when it comes to optimize processes, so manufacturing processes, so some of the variables of the controllers of the machines actually are not specifically Euclidean. And in this sense, for example, some of our techniques exploit geometric machine learning methods to provide more data efficient optimization methods, like, for example, Bayesian optimization or CME, yes. And as I said recently, robotics is definitely a field in which there's a lot of geometry. And with Hadi and with other colleagues, we are pushing these geometric machine learning methods to be able to design methods towards data efficient robot learning approaches. So roughly speaking, I would say that these are three of the different areas where we see a potential use of these techniques.
Okay. Any other questions? So in terms of culture in your research team, how important is the product compared to publishing fundamental results in papers?
There's always a hard trade-off to achieve, I think. I think we understand that basic research is actually very relevant for our products, but not all the products require basic research. So I can tell you that there are a lot of kind of long-hanging fruits in terms of which kind of machine learning techniques can be exploited in different problems inside Bosch. And for example, the consulting service and the consulting department are actually taking care of this kind of long-hanging fruits, let's call it. But the research department, which is where I work on, we understand that basic research is actually needed for this. So I think that currently we're trying to achieve a kind of 50-50 balance between, for example, having research scientists and research engineers, so that we have kind of a good balance between the research output that we have and how we transfer the knowledge to products in Bosch. So I would say that our goal is to have a 50-50 currently. But I have to say that previously we were giving a little bit more importance and we spend way more time on basic research in the last years.
Okay, thank you. Very nice.
I would have another question.
Excuse me, before we carry on, there seems to be a lot of echo. Could we make sure there's no feedback, please?
Okay, was it echo from my side?
For me, it's fine so far.
Okay. So because I don't hear echo, so normally that means that it's me. But if it's better
that must be me then. All right, sorry. Let's carry on then.
Okay. Okay, let's hope I didn't forget my question. Okay, there we go. So I have a question about how big your research team actually is. And then I'm interested in how remote you actually work. I mean, I'm also from Germany. I know that Bosch is situated in the south of Germany, and it would be interesting to me how flexible you are in that sense.
Sorry, I didn't get the very last part of your question.
So how remote do you work? So let's say someone wants to work in the Bosch Center for Artificial Intelligence. Would we actually need to move there? Or is it, I don't know, since the pandemic, actually possible to work remotely for you?
That's a good question. So to answer your first question, so roughly across the 7 locations, we are around 300 research scientists and engineers currently. But we, of course, we have plans to grow. So we have different open positions, and we'll have different open positions in the next years as well. Maybe with a big emphasis on research engineers and consulting. Then regarding the work mode, so of course, due to the pandemic, we have switched heavily to home office and remote work. But currently, actually, Bosch is analyzing the situation and trying to study how we can shape our work mode to a more flexible setup. What I can tell you is that, for example, in my case, before the pandemic, for example, I was allowed to work 2 days from home or from everywhere I wanted, and I was going to campus 3 days a week. So there is a lot of flexibility in Bosch in terms of that. And fortunately, there are different locations also across the world, so that also helps to maybe find the best place to work in.
Yeah, thanks for the
You're
answer.
welcome.
And then, like, some kind of obligatory question in my opinion, how high is the percentage of female researchers?
That's a good question. So I think it really depends on the group that we currently that we have. So far, I think that we're around 12 to 15 groups in BCAI. I'm not fully sure about the ratio that we may have, but just to give you probably a shot, very uninformed shot, I would say that we are around 70% of male researchers and 30 female. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for the answers.
Sure.
So let's thank Lionel again for the talk, and let's take a small break before the next presentation, which will be from Qualcomm.
Thank you, guys.
So next talk is at 6:30.